Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Speech is a very powerful gift that God has given us, and the power of persuasion and the impact we could have with the way we talk and what we say is one of the greatest gifts we have. One of the greatest proofs for that is Winston Churchill and the power of persuasion he used in his talks as Prime Minister to convince the English people to go back to battle in World War II and to have 10,000 bombs dropped on them after what they had already been through. And it was all due to the power of persuasion, the power of his talks. But I have a question for you. Do you ever have a fear of having that tough and hard conversation you have to have with someone you love, or someone you work with, or someone you know? You're scared about rocking the boat, and you rather just leave status quo and not say anything, and not do what's right because it's too tough to do? Or vice versa? Or do you ever have a conversation where you think is important, and the reaction is an angry reaction at you, and it surprises you because you just wanted to say the right thing, but the reaction was not what you expected? So, my colleague Rabbi Marcus gave me a great thought from the Rebbe's talks, and I want to share it with you because I think it'll be a gift for you in the conversations you have to have, the tough conversations, which hopefully you never have to have, but when you have them, to have the courage to have them and use the gift of speech that God has given you. And it really starts with an etymology lesson in Hebrew. And it's from this week's Torah portion, of course. So give me 2 minutes, and I think I'll leave you with something important for today that might give you the gift of persuasion and the power of speech used in the right way. So Judah comes to speak to Joseph. Of course, we know last week's Torah portion, the way Joseph forces them to bring down Benjamin, and he locks away Shimon till they bring him down, and finally Benjamin comes down, and then he plants the goblet in his backpack, and then he says, I'm going to take him as a slave, and Judah is devastated. He has to go bring back Benjamin, or Jacob won't make it. And he comes face to face with Joseph, who is his brother, which he doesn't know, and he has to have a conversation. And he looks at Joseph, and in the words in Hebrew he says, Yidaber na avdecha davar ba'azni adoni. Let your servant speak some words to his master. Va'yichar ba'abcha, and don't be angry at me. And in Hebrew, there's 2 words that you can use for speech. One is emor, amira, as we find many times in the Torah. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, God spoke to Moshe. And one is vayidaber, dibur, daber. Daber b'nei Yisrael, speak to the people of Israel. Now, what's the difference between emor and daber? Tell us the rabbis that emor is more of a soft conversation. It's just having a light conversation, soft words. You're not trying to impact anything or change anything. And daber is stronger words, tough conversations. So Judah speaks to Joseph and says, Yidaber. He uses the word dibur. And then he says, but don't be angry at me. So immediately Rashi, who's the most important the most classic commentator on the Torah, says, 1 second. Hey, Judah tells Joseph, don't be angry at me. From here we learn that he was going to speak harsh words to him. So the Rebbe, in one of his talks, asks a great question. I don't understand. You're looking for proof that he was going to speak harsh words to him? You should have had that proof from the word he used, daber, instead of emor. He used the word for tough words and not the word for emor, which is soft conversation. So from there we could have right away understood that the conversation was going to be a tough one with harsh words. Why does Rashi wait till the fact that he says, don't be angry with me, to say, hey, that insinuates if I wasn't going to speak harsh words, Why would I say don't be angry with me? The fact that I say don't be angry with me is because I plan to speak harsh words. So the Rebbe's question is, why wait till that second part and not learn from the fact of the choice of words he uses for speech? And the Rebbe gives a beautiful answer, which I think could guide us in the conversations we have. And I also think the fact that maybe if we all thought about this, then our conversations along the political arena with someone who thinks differently than us and someone who might act differently than us would really be more pleasant and wouldn't end up in family disputes and breaking up of friendships, etc., etc. The Rebbe says like this: the word daber means tough talk, but the word daber also comes from the word dabran, which really speaks about a leader. Why is a leader called a dabran? Because what does a leader do? A leader tries to persuade someone and inspire someone to do something they might have not wanted to do. If you get someone to just follow what he was doing before, that's not a real leader. Leadership is when you get someone to have a paradigm shift. They were planning to go east, and you get them to go west. They were planning to go north, and you get them to go south. They were planning to go to this school, and you get them to totally have a paradigm shift and do something else. How do you do that? Sometimes it's a tough conversation. Or when you have a soft conversation, it means I'm just having a light conversation. I'm not trying to get you to change your ways. I'm not trying to get you to be different than you were or to think differently. But leaders, true leaders, like a Winston Churchill, of course, in Judaism, lahavdil, like a Moses, they didn't just get someone to do something. They got someone to change their whole idea and their whole perspective and to have a paradigm shift and to go the other way and to do something totally different. So says the Rebbe, from the fact that Judah tells Joseph, I want to daber, doesn't mean that he was going to say harsh words to him. Doesn't mean he was going to get him angry. It means he was going to have a tough conversation. He was going to try to get Joseph to change his ways and to do something that he wasn't planning to do. That's not easy, right? You got to be a leader to do that. It's a tough conversation you have when you try to convince someone to leave his ways or to persuade them to do something they didn't want to do. Judah was going to have a tough conversation, and that's why he used the word daber and not the word emor. He was trying to convince Joseph to send Benjamin out when Joseph didn't want him. That's not proof that he would speak harsh words. But when he says, Vayicha ba'abcha, don't be angry at me, over there you have the proof. Over there we see that he was going to speak angry words and harsh words. What's the message here in this etymology course in Hebrew? You see, sometimes we're afraid of having tough conversations because we don't want to get someone angry. We don't want to rock the boat. But the truth is, having tough conversations shouldn't make someone angry. Trying to get someone to see the light and to think differently, or to change their opinion and perspective on something, to perceive it with a new light, is not something that should get them angry. If you're getting someone angry with your tough conversations, it's because you might be using harsh words. It might be the tone you're saying it with. It might be the choice of words. Or maybe it might be something you're doing to them besides the words that you're saying. The real message that the Rebbe is telling us in this etymology course and in dissecting the words of Judah to Joseph is a lesson to us in how we speak to someone else and the conversations we carry and the opinions we try to deliver. The Rebbe says we should never have to have tough conversations. But when we have the tough conversations, we should have the courage to have them, and we should have the wisdom to choose the way we say them, that they shouldn't be harsh. And when you choose the way you say them, and the tough conversations you're having are really there just to explain and to enlighten and to brighten someone onto the right path, to get them to have a paradigm shift, then they won't be angry. But maybe if you have other motives, and you use harsh words, words of anger, and you say them in a way that are condescending and painful, then you have to worry about them getting angry. So I'll leave you with this, because I think the world we live in and the time we're in is painful. And I think more than ever, people use harsh words and not tough words. And that's why people tend to get some people, the people they speak with, angry. And that's why the rancor, if you go to Congress, if you go to Washington, or if you even go down the streets of Boston, of Washington, of New York, of LA, most of the conversations are talking at people with words of anger, with harsh words. They're not trying to persuade someone. They're not really trying to get a paradigm shift. They're just speaking harsh words. So I give you a blessing that in your lives, you should always have the courage to speak and have those conversations you need to, even if they're tough. Because if said in the right way, and with love, and with respect, you can have a tough conversation without being harsh and without getting someone angry. And maybe if the world will take this lesson that Rebbe taught us, we'll have a world of so much more kindness and love and understanding, yet possibly a different opinion. God bless you and have a great day.